I was born in Bowling Green, I think,
Yeah.
in 1937.
Okay.
And I lived in Ironville till I was, I think, 12 years old. Then we moved out here on Standard Drive.
Okay.
And I was on the fire department for 35 years. I was a chief for 5 years, and as a trustee for 4 years. And I had a stroke. And now I'm under jailhouse arrest. Every morning I get put under house arrest.
How's that going?
It's not worth a damn.
But you get, Deb says you're out more than ever now. That she goes, he doesn't drive, that guy is out all the time now. How long have you lived here?
Here?
Yes.
Since 1963.
63.
And I'm gonna live here till I die. Ina died here, and so am I.
It's a beautiful place. I love it out here. It's nice.
I was from a family of 10, and there's only 2 of us left, and I was talking to him when you came in.
Yeah.
She'll be all right now.
So Deb told me the story, and you didn't have to talk about this, but I know that Deb lost her father, and you stepped in. And
Yeah.
I think it's really cool because, I mean, her and Paul
See,
fully love you as father and grandfather. I mean, yeah, that's a beautiful story.
my brother Bill, I was going with Ina just when we steamboated, me and my brother Bill.
Yeah.
And Bill told me, he says, "You planning on marrying her?" I said, "No." I says, "I just wanted somebody to go with." He said, "You care if I go with her?" I said, "Be my guest." And he married her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they were married, and he was killed on the next year on Christmas Eve morning in Monroe.
That's sad.
And a year later, I married her, and Debbie was 9 months old, I think.
Yeah.
Or a year, maybe 9 months. I
So
don't know.
You're who she remembers. Yeah. You're who she remembers. Yeah. And it's beautiful. The way I see it is you are her father, and I know biologically
I
that's not the case.
consider myself her dad and Paula.
It's like
Paula, the other daughter, was 9 years old
yeah.
when I married Ina, and we had a good life. I could have been better. I drank a lot, messed around a lot, so
That's all of us, brother. That's all of us.
yeah.
But
Then finally, before Ina died, she finally got me going to church. Her and Diana, my sister-in-law. And I still go to church every Sunday.
nice.
But the only problem I have is I can't drive, and I can't get over to the cemetery and stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, Debbie and Diane take care of me, and Paul. I can always rely on them guys.
You have a good crew. Yeah. There's nice. Blood is thicker than water.
Hmm. But I take care of my own place here. I mow the grass, take care of the plants, flowers.
Now, how long has Debbie moved? How long has Debbie been your neighbor across the way here? Because that's interesting too. It's pretty cool.
Let's see. Paul's 34, and he moved over there when he was 16. They lived here 16 years,
Yeah.
and then they moved back there. And I'm glad they're back there.
Oh yeah. And I know they're fond of you as well. Very much so. I've known Debbie now 2004. 15 years now. I mean, time flies with that. I know 15 years is not much, but it is a lot, you know.
Yeah, it is when you think of it, how fast it goes.
I have a nice picture of you and Ina from the bird trail, and eventually we'll put this all together, but I'd like to add some photos. She was such a beautiful woman. I mean, such a very
She was.
pretty woman.
Ida was beautiful all the way through. She
Absolutely.
was
Yeah.
a wonderful lady.
What was her full name? Sorry.
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because Ida would never wanted that heard.
Yeah, some people don't want their middle names known.
Well, her middle name was Ina Marie.
Ina Marie.
Ina Marie.
Oh, Ina Marie.
And her dad, she was born in Kentucky.
She had that accent.
And her dad worked for the railroad, and they finally moved up, and they lived just down the road. And he run a junkyard out there.
Yeah.
Her dad and mom were beautiful people too.
Now, Ina came up from Kentucky. How did she end up in Ohio? How did she end up here, you know?
Well, Ovi, the guy she was married to when she was in Kentucky. See,
Yeah.
Ida got married when she was 16, I think.
Yeah.
And when Dad and Mom Anderson moved up here, she come up here and lived in the house over there, and who owned that place?
Somewhere close by, somewhere fairly close by.
Yeah, over in
Yeah.
right over where Metzger's Marsh is.
Oh, then close by. You don't have to
Yeah,
give me the
there's-
exact there. Yeah.
Right there where the Kugli Canal entrance off of Route 2,
Okay.
and right there by Ward's Canal. There used to be a farmhouse that Sheehan lived in, and then, but not at that time. Wiener owned that place at that time.
That was the farmer's name?
Yeah, he owned the farm and them two mansions that were there.
Is there one still there that's a bed and breakfast?
One
there-
is, the original one is still there.
Okay. Yeah.
The little ones that tore down.
Yeah. I always wondered. 'Cause that was really cool to see that.
Yeah, and then when the park when the park come in, it either got tore down or burnt down. I can't remember now. But
Yeah, Howard Marsh. Yeah. So she lived over there. How did you first meet her? I mean, you remember the first time? Like,
I met her down at Schultz's store.
okay.
She worked at Schultz's store
Where's Schultz's store? Where was that?
at Howard and Corduroy.
Were there any other businesses down there besides that?
Yeah, there was the Kellys had a hardware store across the road on Corduroy. And she worked for Schultz. And then Schultz opened a gas station. And that's where I met Inez, in Schultz's store. Because at that time there was Westies, and then Schultz's was the only ones here.
What was Westie's?
His was with Jack Superette.
Okay.
He was there at his store.
Were there any bars or any other other businesses in Reno Beach?
Yeah, there was a bar down there. It's still there, but it's lived in. People live upstairs. And it was where the Cooley Canal Yacht Club used to have their meetings and stuff.
Okay.
And
Yeah, because that's one thing you don't see anymore. You don't see any. All you see is Jack's down there in the previous bar that used to be there.
that was the BP,
That was a BP. It was a gas
or
station.
the gas station that Schultz owned. And then he sold it, and then they moved it into a bar. And Kelly's, they just disappeared. They
The family, everybody just disappeared from here. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the old people are dead, the parents probably.
Yeah.
Then there was always a bowling tavern over there. Used to be Art Fielder's.
Is that still there? I think there's still a
Fielder's there. It's bowling tavern now.
Okay, yeah. Now I've never drank there. I would like talking to you and just finding information, just simple information about here. I'd like to talk to people over there about there, and they call that Shepherdsville, I guess, originally.
Yeah, it used to be. Yeah.
Shepherdsville.
Navarre used to live over there.
Oh, like the official Peter Navarre family, the descendants.
I don't know. No, I don't. It wasn't the original Peter Navarre.
There's so many Navarres.
The original Peter Navarre had a cabin out in Ironville.
Okay.
In the march across from the railroad tracks.
When was that?
Oh, that was years and years ago.
And did you work on the railroad in Ironville?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I worked at the overseas terminal.
The overseas terminal. Were you more on the ships then than the
Well,
trains?
when I first went to work, 18, I walked out of high school. And I went steamboating on the lake freighters. And I was there for 7 years. And I married Ina. And we had the 2 kids. And the only time I got off was the winter time. And I said, all my summer with the kids and family is gone. So I quit steamboat and went to work at the docks. And I worked there, and there's a plaque that sets right on, I think it's is it St. Clair? No. Front Street used to run down through there. And there's a plaque at the Port Authority building that tells all about Peter Navarre.
Okay. Yeah, because he definitely goes back into the
And
earliest.
I think that Navarre Park is named after him.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, yeah.
In Toledo. I never knew that plaque was there. All the years I worked there, I never knew it was there.
Is your name on it?
Yeah.
Floyd Tefft?
No, there's a name on it. It's about Peter Navarre and how they came to be in there in Ironville. But that wasn't Ironville. Ironville was a little place all by itself. That used to be the marsh over there.
Did they consider the Ironville people the marsh people, or?
No, they considered them.
They considered them what?
I don't know what they considered,
Were
but
they-
there was.
Were they looked down upon, the original East Siders?
I don't think so, because it was a rough side of town.
That's what I
You had Gulf Oil and the Unicast there, and
It's still like that.
that little town had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars in it.
Imagine that.
There was 5 bars there.
Imagine all the sailors coming in, the
Yeah.
longshoremen.
Well, you had the oil docks, oil tankers come in, then you had the foreign boats come in. Plus, Ironville was a lot of the first stop for the lake traders, because they come into the coal docks, they go down Millard Avenue and into town.
Now, how many years were you down there? Because it was rough and tumble. Did you ever have any rough and tumble moments in Ironville?
Oh, we used to have our days.
We used to have our days. I bet you did there, Floyd.
My brothers and I, we used to run around and have a little bit of tussles here and there.
Because you got some big meat hooks on you there, sir. If I shake
and,
your hand, I got this massive hand to shake.
And but I remember my uncle one time, we had a fight in dry dock. And he come up to me and he said, "You know what, for 30 years, I've been trying to get our name out of the mud. And in 5 minutes, you kids put it right back in there." And I still remember that. But he, yeah, it was a nice community if you lived there.
Yeah. Now, did you retire from there? I mean, I'm assuming, I don't even,
Yeah.
You did, you retired from that job.
Yeah, 2003.
2003, I remember when I met you, 2004.
Yeah.
So you had just retired. Yeah. You worked for a while then. And you were busy, you were pretty active in the local
I worked
politics.
40 years at the docks.
Wow, that's a long time.
I worked there until I was 65,
Nice.
and I retired. And then another company bought it, and I went back to work and worked till I was 70 and had my stroke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I still like the docks. I still like the idea of it, but now it's going downhill in a pushcart.
Do you think politics has any roles to play in some of that?
Well,
It usually does, you know.
the lake freighters don't come in anymore hardly like they used to, because all of this stuff got this coal and how bad it was.
Yeah, we don't get coal freighters anymore.
No.
We're not doing that. We're not even doing Davis Bessie anymore in our
No.
lifetime.
Well, they used to do Bayshore.
You remember when that was built? I remember when that was built in the early 1970s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that was built.
Were you worried about it? Like, were you worried about nuclear power maybe being not good?
No, because at that time I was on the fire department and we had training with them all the time.
Nice.
And we, at the fire department, was a decontamination
Yep.
Spot for cars and that. So we always had a drill every year.
With your hazmat suits on.
Well, we never had the suits like they got now. At that time, you would put your fire turnout gear in and go with it.
Right. And you
But,
did that for how long? How many years did you work on the fire department?
35.
35 years. Whoa. So you've seen a lot of stuff.
I say 35. The fire department says 36.
You've seen a lot of stuff. You have a lot of stories on that side to tell too, I bet.
Well, this has always been a good fire department.
Did you ever save a cat from a tree? Like
Yeah.
You always saw the stereotypical cat from a tree saving by the fire department, and you got to do that.
Yeah, we did right down there in Reno.
Yeah.
They was gonna hook it, and they said, "We'll hook the cat and then we'll drop it, and you catch it."
You catch it. Yikes.
And I was there,
No fun.
and they come down and they unhooked him, and the cat come out with the paws like this. So I just backed up. And they said, "Did you catch it?" I said, "No, it landed on the ground."
What? Floyd.
And then
joy
there
out of
was
that.
a guy across the street was ready. He said, "I was going to get it down." He says, "I got a gun and I was going to get it down."
Oh man, cat haters. Cat-hating fireman story.
So
It's a dark story, folks, in the annals of history in Reno Beach, yeah.
see, Reno Beach used to have what we call muck fires.
Down in the gutters or the ditch.
No, they would start in the yard like you was burning trash. The dirt would catch on fire,
Yeah.
and you'd have to pump water underneath to put them out.
Probably got a lot of those, and there probably were barn fires and house fires that weren't always fun to have, you know.
Yeah.
To deal with.
We didn't have too many barn fires because our biggest fire, I think, was Anchor Point Marina.
Yeah. When was that?
Huh.
That made the news, didn't it?
Yeah, it burnt. And we had an investigation on it, but the only way to catch an arsonist is hold him there with the match in his hand and burn his fingers. Because if you take a picture of him, of the match in his hand, you're not going to prove anything.
That's a tough one, yeah. Arsonists, they have to kind of be caught.
But they,
do you still go down there? Do you ever visit? You probably don't know a lot of the new guys, but
no, the fire department now.
do they ever have like a picnic or anything that you can go? Just,
Well, yeah, I can go to the Wednesday meetings and that, but
you go now or no?
no,
Oh, okay.
because I have to have somebody drive me. And I'm not going to bother people to do that.
Well,
They have a retirement dinner and
are they every Wednesday night or once a month?
Every Wednesday night.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Is your the time that you were a trustee, because you were voted in, weren't you? You were voted in as a trustee.
I was rode in.
You were wrote in.
Yeah, I took out my petition and I had a wrong date on it.
Okay.
And they throwed it out.
Oh no.
So I had to be rode in.
So they just wrote you in. You became trustee because they love you so much.
Well, everybody quit running against me.
Floyd Tefft, the
And all I
unbeatable,
had to do was have my own vote.
the untouchable there in local
So-
politics. You still have signs, don't you? Don't you have a Floyd Tefft for trustee sign in the garage?
I got a whole bunch of them, I think, up on top, I think.
Oh man, I'd love to get a picture of one of those. That would be pretty cool. But so what did you have to do as a trustee? I mean, you communicate with county government or?
Yeah, just take care of the problems in the township.
Or people
But
are saying,
it's a
what kind of problems?
whatever, their land problems or whatever. See, we have a zoning person and we have a zoning board,
Yeah.
and they mostly take care of the property and whatever it is to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what you did. I know it's a smaller amount of, there's not a necessity for big government, but you need someone to speak on the account. Did you just deal with Reno Beach or Jerusalem Township overall?
Overall, Jerusalem Township, but that is not an easy job if you do it the right way. I was in charge of the
It's a job.
cemetery too.
What'd you have to do for that?
Well, you have to keep records of the lots you sell and the burials and stuff like that.
You had to do that?
I did, but now I guess they got it all on computer.
Of course. Yeah, nowadays.
But when I did it, we didn't have it on computer. We kept logs on it.
Right, everything was on paper. There were no computers.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember those days.
and I hope they're still there.
Yeah, unless they've transcribed them into computer. But it'd be nice to have a little archive.
Stanley Berto, I don't know if you've heard of him. He was doing an archives on the cemetery. I know he was doing up things on it. See, that cemetery's got 46 spots for poverty people.
Okay.
And when I left it, when I got out, there was 26 left.
Okay, here's a different one. How about, do you remember when it flooded and they had to build up the dikes with the Department of, the Army Corps of Engineers?
Yeah,
Were you affected badly by that?
it flooded up here. It got into underneath the house, but it didn't get in the house.
Good.
Down in Reno and Howard Farms is where they really got it.
Yeah. But I remember probably around the same time that Luna Pier had Army Corps of Engineers, and I'm guessing the shore was flooding pretty badly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, see, they got a committee here, a conservancy, that's supposed to take care of the dikes and that. But when I was trustee, I used to drive around and see what was going on.
okay. You're keeping an eye on your in your domain.
Well, it's always good to know what, when you go to a meeting and you got a lot of people from the public, it's always good to know when they're gonna ask a question. You know about this?
Yes, I saw that pile of crap over there.
Yeah.
That's good. That sounds like you were good in your duties. You know.
Well,
What about mayflies?
you know, I used to see them when, like I say, down there were in the corner of Howard and Corduroy. They used to get thick.
I've seen them.
I
there.
mean, you'd slide around them with the car.
Like banana peels and stuff.
Yeah,
It's stinky
and
too.
but now I don't see that many anymore. But the lake is going bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Well, I think part of that lake going bad is the mud in the bottom's not getting stirred up. When we used to have lake freighters, maybe you'd have lake freighters going in and out of there
Would stir up
continually and keep it stirred up and aerated. Now it's dead.
Maybe you should take some of the people with lesser crimes in prison to be shit stirrers in Lake Erie so we can re-oxygenate. We can make use of those in prison to drive little
You got to get
submarines
them.
around.
You got to get them deeper than that. But the boats used to come in at 26 feet.
Yeah.
They were just riding the bottom, and it would stir up all the time.
Right.
Now there's not enough transportation going through.
What about your yellow-headed blackbird? What about that? Because that has been a visitor. You've been nobody gets yellow-headed blackbirds around here visiting them like you do.
Well, this one now, Debbie, that's first time I know it was yesterday when she showed me the picture of him. And I haven't seen him for about 3 years. But I got Baltimore Orioles here.
I did see them, yeah. Deb said you had a yellow-headed blackbird. It must have left already.
No, I don't know if he left or not.
I hope he stays around. I hope to see him today.
Well, he comes early in the morning and late at night.
Okay, he kind of flies around and comes over here.
And there's another one that I'd seen this year. It's a yellow. He must have got mixed up with the other one, because he's got a yellow throat.
I wonder if it's no, you wouldn't find a meadowlark at a feeder. You wouldn't see that.
No,
You remember the triangle reminds me of.
no, he's got the regular red.
Which one you talking about? The yellow-headed or the?
The one with the throat has got the features of a red-winged blackbird,
Oh, interesting.
and he's got a yellow throat.
Wow, that's interesting. Some kind of a hybrid then. Some kind
Yeah,
of
he's
strange hybrid.
probably mixed up with it. Got mixed up with him.
Rick Nerschel and all you elitists out there, they got a bird you don't have. I'm gonna,
Huh?
I was talking to the camera about some of these birders sometimes like to discover new birds, and I don't know. Deb has apparently seen it, right?
The one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No, she hasn't, because she goes and leaves in the morning,
Yeah.
and then he usually comes around like just before it gets dark.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen him in a couple days.
Yeah, maybe
He
he's
might
off.
have a nest somewhere.
Probably. If there's one, there's probably two, unless that hybrid bird is the mate. That hybrid bird might be, the mulatto couple.
He might be with the regular blackbird.
Is there like birding mulatto interracial couples?
That's what Debbie calls it.
Could be.
Said that's mulatto.
There's the Oriole up there. We got 2 Orioles, male, female.
Oh, and sometimes I have a half a dozen days. I've counted 8 at a time out there.
I love hearing their call. Yeah, they're probably nesting all over around here.
Well, when I get like these sparrows,
Yeah.
when they get slow and feed, and I go out to the garage, they come out to the garage.
Nice. Nice.
And then I had a chickadee this spring
Chickadees are great.
that used to come out, and I held my hand out,
Oh,
and they'd
there's the-
eat out of my
oh, yeah.
hand.
those, yeah, chickadees are very feedable. Titmice and I think chickadees more so. Oh, there's we got a red, not a purple finch, but a house finch.
Yeah, they're
You got a
out
good
there.
collection of birds here at your feet. This is really nice. Like you even have calling Baltimore Orioles on a feeder. I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
They don't have the jelly or any of that. They're still just eating the regular feed.
Well, I go to a foot doctor, and a woman that goes to our church, works in his office.
Yeah.
So I was there, and she asked me, she said, "How do you get Baltimore Orioles?" I said, "You put grape jelly and oranges out there." I said, "And
It
you'll
works.
get them."
It works.
So she did. She says, "I got them."
Nice. Good.
And then we get our grape jelly at Aldi's. And the girl up there said, "What do you use this grape jelly for?" And Diane said, "We feed the Orioles." And they said, "Is that how you get Orioles?" I said, "Yeah." Well, Aldi's sold out of grape jelly.
Great
We
jelly.
went there and they sold out. They said, "We ain't got no more coming
Created a
in."
craze.
So I went in and bought 2 cases of it.
That's funny. You had to go to Howard's.
And
Okay.
she says, "You give that secret away and everybody's taking." And went to Walmart's and they didn't have any.
That's pretty funny.
They ended up buying
Yeah.
6 cans.
Yeah, everybody wants the Orioles to come. Like, that's funny.
And-
But it'd be nice to see the Welch's stock goes way up during birding season.
That, but the other guy, we call him Bo. He goes to church. I work as a greeter at the church,
Yeah.
and he works there as a greeter too and stuff, and cleans up and everything. And he said, "I can't get them in the yard." I said, "Get some grape jelly, Bo,
Yeah.
and put it in a feeder."
It works.
Well, I made my first feeder. I made just a flat feeder
Yep. Just put it in there.
and put jelly in the thing.
Easy. Yeah.
And oranges, I put nail spikes up, put oranges on. And they came, so now I had one.
Like a mayfly.
Now I
one
got
nightlight.
2, and I need a third one, really. Because
Yeah.
now the blackbirds and robins and everything eat grape jelly and oranges.
When do you think the Orioles will leave? I think probably I think they leave kind of like in
Like
July
the
sometime.
last of August and the 1st of September.
But you don't hear them call. There's a point where it comes where you see them, but you don't hear them calling anymore because they're done
Yeah.
mating. Like I'm sick of you, Mrs. Baltimore Oriole. They had their honeymoon. Now they're going south.
Yeah,
I love the red-winged blackbirds. They're definitely
Yeah.
I think more of a sign of spring than robins are
yeah.
because
Well,
robins
the robins home stay.
that's stay year round exactly.
That's
yeah.
like, I threw a loaf of bread out there this morning,
Yeah.
and they went through that like about an hour and a half. They were through it.
See this orchard oriole.
But
Orchard
this-
oriole.
This is mostly what I do. I weed, take care of my flowers, take care of the yard. And I got an old tractor out there I'm working on. Just
Oh, you-
goofing around with
The
it.
yard looks great. The yard looks really nice.
I built me that planter so I could, because I couldn't bend over without falling,
Yeah.
because they took my balance away from me. And so I built that planter. Then Debbie come over and says, "I need one of those." So she's got one over in her backyard too. But I got a level listen up.
You have Oregon, we say Oregon, not Oregon, from 1837 to 1961, so that includes history from around here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jerusalem Township in Oregon.
Can you lift it up just a little bit? Just kind of lift it up by your face a little bit. There we go. I'm just going to get that book. That's pretty. Let me take a look at that, Floyd. Yeah. Do you have a middle name?
Albert.
Floyd Elmer, all right.
That's why they call me Fats sometimes.
What did they call you?
Fats, my
They
nickname.
call you, oh yeah, you didn't tell me that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they
fine.
used to call me Fats.
All right. Who's the last person, does anyone still call you that?
I'll run into once in a while, I'll run into some older person that knows me by that.
The Indians, this is definitely the beginning here, because Indians
Yeah.
were around here. I mean, of course it was Ottawa Indians and probably other tribes.
Well, this used to be called what? The Black Swamp.
What was it called again?
The Black Swamp.
Oh, the Black Swamp, right. Yeah, because it took a while for them to drain it to make it inhabitable.
Yeah.
Because there were mosquitoes.
Well,
and,
they had raised onions in Metzger's Marsh. If the water goes down, you go around the curve there.
you get onions out there?
No, you look out and you see parts of the boiler
Oh, wow.
is in the water out there.
Well, did Howard Farms have anything to do with the onion farming?
Yeah,
That was their business, wasn't it?
that's what was mostly raised around here at that time.
Did you know any of the Howards? Any of the ones?
No.
No.
They were out gone. Weiner was over there one.
Wiener. It's spelled like Weiner, but looks like Wiener. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he had a retail clothing store. I think.
This is really just densely filled with great information. This is an amazing
Really,
book.
I never read the whole thing.
I'm just looking through it, just looking at all the... Oh, here's Frank Buno. He's the guy from Bono, Ohio. Frank Buno was a member of the Ottawa tribe of Indians.
Yeah.
He lived with a group that settled in the knoll east of Bono. That's where the name Bono came from Buno. But Walpole Island Buno refused to go with them. Interesting. Get Catherine Buno. But then they'll get into the guy that this was named after, which was like Henry Reno or something Reno.
Yeah. I think it was Henry Reno, you're right. I think.
This is, I bet you they don't even sell this anymore. I bet you this is way out of print.
I don't think so. Josephine Fast has been dead a long time.
How the white men gained possession of the Indian land. It was Trump's fault.
Right, yeah. He
Build
did
that-
it.
Build that wall, but we had to dig a ditch. We didn't build a wall. We dug ditches around here. Yeah.
Well, they used to haul logs. I heard of, they hauled Ward's Canal. They used to transport all out of there.
Oh, yeah?
See, that Ward's Canal is still on the lakes as a navigable channel.
Which canal was that?
Ward's Canal.
Now, is that connected to Cooley or not? 'Cause
Yeah,
there's-
it's called Cooley down there, and Ward's over here.
When did they dig those? I mean, is that like in the
I
20th
don't
century?
know when they dug it. It was dug when I moved out here.
You serious?
Because I almost died in it.
Oh no! What?
Yeah, when we was moving, my brother Bill, we backed the truck up over the dike, and it went in the canal, and I was pinned between a tree and the truck. And my brother Bill held my head up. And then they had an old 12-cylinder LaSalle at the house that we was moving into.
Yeah.
And the guy said it never run. We drove it into, they drove me to Riverside Hospital.
Oh wow. When was that?
I was 12 years old then.
Oh, you were a young lad then.
I was in the 8th grade at Jerusalem School.
So you've completely grown up in this area then. There's a nice
Yeah.
memorial right there. Look at that. Nice, beautiful male.
There's a female on the
Yeah.
on the. I get orchard Orioles out here.
I thought I saw an orchard oriole. I'm like, is that an orchard oriole? I was wondering if that was, you know, the
And there's
darker-
a mature one, mature male runs around here. And then there's a regular male pairs. So
So did you resume working on that canal after you injured yourself or had your mishap?
no, I was in school then. See, at that time, when we moved out here from Ironville, Dad used to farm land on Tiffin Avenue, and he sold vegetables to Al Smith Restaurant, to the Smith Restaurant in the city.
Where's Tiffin Street? I don't even know where that is. Downtown?
You know where Millard Avenue is?
Yeah, I think it's where like the train, there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes right there. Pretty sure I've been on that,
Right before you get to
the refinery or?
Tiffin Avenue,
Okay.
where the overpass is to the docks.
Okay.
That's Tiffin Avenue. That used to run all the way through. And there used to be a church on the corner of Case and Paragon.
Nice. So there's bound to be pictures.
And
possibly.
the Methodist church, it was a Methodist church on Millard and Case, I think it was.
During your young days in Ironville, did you guys go downtown, in downtown Toledo? Do you have memories of being in downtown?
Well, they had bus service there,
Okay.
right there at Irving School. See, there was Irving School was in Ironville at that
Was that
time.
Community Traction? Was that the name of the bus? Community
Yeah, I
Traction?
think it was.
Were there still interurban trains around yet? Were there any streetcars? The streetcars were gone
Yeah, the
before
streetcars were downtown.
You remember?
The
you were-
trolley cars with the wires on top.
You're older enough to remember the streetcars?
Yeah,
Interesting. Cool.
I remember the streetcars
That's
in the
awesome.
city. They didn't have them out in Ironville. They had the regular, I don't know if they were gas or diesel, probably diesel.
Because there were interurban trains too, where you could go all the way to like Cleveland or go up to Ann Arbor. I think
Yeah.
there were interurbans that would take you up to to Luna Pier. You could go up there. 'Cause-
Yeah. Well, my dad and mom owned a bar in Luna Pier at one time.
Nice. Do you remember the name of it?
No, I don't.
You don't. Okay.
But I remember Paul Whiteman, Mom telling me that at one time they had Paul Whiteman's, all of his instruments. He hawked them there.
Oh, really? I don't even know who's Paul Whiteman.
The band, Paul Whiteman's band.
Okay. Like a big band sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my brother tells me about the gangsters, Lucky Luciano and them. They had gunfights there, but my brothers are all of them are dead, except my younger one.
I think I met your one brother. I think I did meet one of your brothers. I think he lived down the street here.
That's brother-in-law.
Is he still around?
Tom, yeah.
Oh, so you still have another brother. That's good.
I got one brother, younger brother left, Dale. There was 10 of us, 8 of them are on the other side.
Wow, that's a big family. That is quite. Was it mostly brothers and some sisters, or?
Seven brothers. I had 6 brothers and 3 sisters.
That's good. That's a family. That's when families were very big like that.
Yeah. Well, I remember in Ironville, they used to take the rail cars, coal cars, and jump them at the bridge,
Okay.
pile up coal on the side of it. Then when they get to Ironville, they'd push it off.
Oh yeah.
For the winter when they'd have heat. My dad told me about that. So,
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, some good memories because I definitely have a love for the history of the area in Toledo. I've grown up in this area my whole life as well, and You know, I'm still
Well,
interested in these smaller communities outside of Toledo.
I know my two sisters, Anna Mae and Betty, and I think Rosie might have worked at Save Electrics.
Okay.
That was on Main and Front. Right
Okay.
across from that restaurant, that little White Tower restaurant.
Yeah, White Tower. Boy, there's only one left. There's only one left now. Still, there's still one White Tower left. Remember Kewpie's?
Yeah.
You can go to Lima now for a Kewpie burger. There's three.
That White Tower, though, that's in the city, it's boarded up.
The one on Sylvania Avenue?
Oh, I don't know about the one on Sylvania Avenue.
That's the last remaining one. That's
Is
the
it?
last remaining. How about Tidkey's? And
Yeah,
then,
I remember Tidkey's.
And then how about like on Cherry Street when that used to be, what do they call that? Like the Bowery, you know, where all the bums and the drunks hung out and the flop houses. Cherry Street used to have quite a bit of
Oh,
that.
the Cherry Street Mission.
Well, not the Mission, but back then, before they tore it all down and put the Owens, Illinois building in, that used to be, they totally tore all that out of there because that was lots of flop houses. Do you remember any of that?
Yeah,
part of downtown?
well, they had all the what do you call them? That had no place to live.
Yeah.
They all
Destitute.
lived down there they still do under the Ashland Fall Bridge.
Sometimes.
They had them in Cleveland too. I remember when we'd steamboat and go down there at night to the Cleveland River.
Yeah.
You'd see them fires burning along the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
down the,
Like the hobos and the bums and whatever you want to call them, whatever name.
yeah.
There's a difference in each one, I guess. Are you in here? Is your name in here? Do we see Floyd Tefft's name in
No,
this? Well, there he is right there. No, you're not in there, but we should put you in here anyway.
no.
You deserve a footnote in the history of this area. It's interesting. All the plank roads, the upkeep of the roads, digging of ditches. It goes right here, ditch supervisor, the big ditch.
The Big Ditch Road was Stadium Road.
Oh, okay.
That used to be called Big Ditch Road.
That was Big Ditch Road. See, I never knew that. Organizations for the family. There's a lot of organizations here. How about, what's the Ghoulish Villa? Do you remember going there for burgers? Because, of course, they still serve the Gull burgers
Yeah.
up here at the marina.
Well, yeah, but I don't know who's cooking.
But probably not exactly the same.
No, Bill Ghoulish, he's died. And I think he's only got, well, his son. One son's in California, and I don't know where Gene's at.
Rachel Road, there you are, and then you have Reno. Look at this. Yeah, look at the fire department here.
Yeah, the fire department first was in back of where the Bono Tavern is.
Yes.
That's where they had the fire department first.
I'm really intrigued by this. There's some old plants there.
That's my dad's. Used to put his roses in between.
Really, it's from your dad's?
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. My dad used to press the flowers, put them in between books.
Yeah, this is intriguing, Floyd. This is really cool. What's this magazine cover for right here?
Business venture, Frank Miller.
So this is your second magazine cover as well for Business Venture. I've never been on the cover of anything. And then we have this one over here.
Yeah.